Larry,
What?
I just saw on the Discord someone posted a video. GameSpot just uploaded a video. Firearms expert reacts to BattleBit Remastered guns.
They uploaded it?
Yeah,
No.
just uploaded it. Firearms experts react to BattleBit guns. Oh my god, 4 minutes ago. 22
BattleBit
minutes
guns.
long.
Because no, I had an email contact with them, and I knew that they wanted to do it. So because I gave them keys and unlocked. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to watch this now.
I sent it to you in your DMs.
Oh yeah, because I'm watching. Yoink. There we go. Are we ready? I hope so.
This is Jonathan Ferguson, the keeper of firearms and artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And this week, he's taking a look at the low-poly, massively multiplayer shooter, BattleBit Remastered, which, it's fair to say, pleasantly surprised him.
I just want to say, with the ejected cases in this game, here they are barely visible, flying speed out of the gun at extreme angles, because that's how guns work. This game, with its very simple graphics, is doing a better job than a lot of mainstream AAA
I'm very happy about
games
this.
have done historically with that particular aspect.
Make sure to subscribe and let us know what other games or guns you'd like to see Jonathan break down in the comment section down below. Right, let's take a look at the guns of BattleBit Remastered.
Right, so my first experience of this game is going to be a pretty detailed but untextured take on, well, it says M4A1. I don't know if that's an M4A1, assuming that's not meant to be a suppressor on the end, and is in fact the barrel. It looks very large in diameter, but not enough to be a suppressor. So it does say barrel, so let's take it on it at its word. Considering the few polygons that go into this game, because I know that already, to see that much detail, like we've got the selector switch. Now I've grabbed a, this is a Lantac Battle Raven with a relatively short but very heavy barrel and a little short suppressor on the end. It has the Magpul buttstock on it, the CTR stock that is being replicated here. So it's the closest thing I could find on the rack at short notice. But it's not an M4. I'm not entirely sure that this is either. But loads of detail. The selector switch, the rear takedown pin, the front pivot pin, all the angles on the receiver look good. This could afford to be a lot less detailed, I think, considering the sort of world and character graphics that we're about to see.
Insane.
I'm like generally like so excited and so happy about this. It's like.
All right, this one is relevant to my interests. Not so many depictions of the LSW, the light support weapon variant of the SA-80, the L86.
This gets a rework
A1,
still.
or
it's like
as I have, I've actually picked up the wrong one. This is an L86 A2, but you know what? Given the graphics of this game, it doesn't really matter. So the only thing that the game could represent, given its graphics, would be this cocking handle. So this is that comma-shaped cocking handle, and the idea of that, it is also a case deflector, fired case deflector. So it's easier to get hold of than the old A1 cocking handle, and when it's at the rear like that, it's got a sort of facing on it to help it resist the damage of being hit repeatedly by hot bits of sharp metal. It's helping
Keep
to
in
get
mind,
that
it's not
facing
remodded
clear
yet.
of the,
it's
of
not
the
made yet,
seat.
but I will take that in
Conspicuous
account.
by its absence,
I will take that in
is
account.
The bipod, which is a permanent fixture. Well, not permanent, it can be removed, but not meant to be user removable. The bipod is an integral part of the weapon system, as the British military calls it. So it ought not to be missing from this gun. So I'm hoping that it is fittable at some point as a sort of optional extra, but it shouldn't really be optional. It's critical and integral to the role of this weapon as a support weapon, albeit in the long run, not a very successful support weapon. Another British military firearm. It's nice to see. It looks very clearly an L86 A1. Gun looks great for I keep saying because of the low quality graphics, but you know, they are consciously low polygon. They're not low quality per se. Works really well. The bolt handle lifts up, the bolt comes to the rear, the cartridge case comes out, all the stuff you'd expect to see, just with less detail. The only quibble I was going to have was the fact that it has what appears to be a 4-power ACOG sight on top of it, which you could do with a Picatinny adapter, because the A1 did not have a Picatinny mil standard 1913 rail on it. The A2 rifle had to have an adapter interface to take the ACOG, and indeed the LCAN. Lightweight day sight. The modernized A3 receiver has the Picatinny rail on there as standard, but this generation, no. So you can't just slap on an ACOG. You can only install a SUSAT. Now, in fairness to the British, that was a NATO standard rail. It's just that only we and the Spanish, I think, used it. So we tried to do the right thing, and it didn't help.
Oh, okay, that is new. That's fairly new.
Another really nicely modeled gun here, the P90, FN P90, of course. I can make out the cocking slide, as it were, on the left-hand side. All the various screws that hold the clamshell polymer receiver together, you know, all the basic features of the weapon are there. And as it's demonstrated, we can see the cartridge cases and even gases, effectively the exhaust gases of firing the cartridge, coming out in little puffs from the bottom of the gun, which I think if you looked hard enough, you probably would see on the real firearm, because that's where the breech is. So you're going to get some gases exiting that ejection port, which is on the bottom of the weapon, and we normally don't look at it or for it, but it is there, and it has a pivoting little cover that you can shut to make sure no dirt gets in. I did notice on the reload there that the gun is locking open when the magazine is being changed, and then something is releasing the bolt forward. P90 has no hold open device, guys. You replace the magazine, you then have to run the charging handle, as they say, to chamber around from the magazine. So I'm very much enjoying the fact the game has inspection animations. That's really good. I don't think unlocking and lifting up the P90 magazine is going to show you very much. This is a closed bolt weapon. The bolt is closed either on an empty chamber or on a round. You can't see that from lifting up the magazine. Nice touch, but not really necessary, not particularly helpful. What you need to do with the P90 is remove the magazine, press check essentially, and then reinstall the magazine. It's a downside of the design in some ways, because you know, on a typical like an AR, you can simply check the chamber with the magazine, perform a press check, as it were, with the magazine fitted. Well, the P90 magazine gets in the way of that. We've now got the RPG-7 here, and another good job. You know, good modeling. I'm not sure you'd want to hold the round that way round, because it would make it very hard to insert. Now, as this weapon was designed to be used, you would have an assistant who loads the round for you. We have, although the warhead isn't super detailed, we have got enough length there to suggest that it has the expelling charge screwed on the back of it, which is something that games have consistently failed to do, and movies actually. They don't realize that there has to be a charge that screws on the back of the warhead to get it 15 meters downrange before the rocket motor kicks in. Remember, this is a recoilless weapon with a rocket-assisted warhead, and then the effect on target is fantastic, better than what I've seen on a lot of fully featured graphical games. It might be perhaps a bit excessive for what the RPG-7 actually does, but in terms of gameplay, having the roof blow off slightly is very cool. And to be fair, it hasn't blown the whole wall down or anything. It's knocked out part of it. Now, the effect of an actual high explosive anti-tank shaped charge warhead is actually quite disappointing if you look this up. Obviously not if you get one shot at you, because it's essentially if it's fired at not armor, then it's going to function a bit like a large hand grenade. Lots of fragmentation and some blast. That's not its primary purpose though, although there is an anti-personnel version. It's meant to create that jet of particles to penetrate steel armor. So it has that very tiny little hole with a sort of black smear on the outside of the wall, and then whatever damage on the inside. So in a way, this is unrealistic, but I think on balance it works really well. And we have a fragmentation round. So that would be the OG7. We're not calling it that, we're calling it fragmentation. The OG7 round has, because it has no rocket motor, is super short and does not stick out massively from the front of the launcher like basically all of the other rounds do. This is sticking out quite far and is shaped like a sort of miniature missile. So it doesn't look like the standard Soviet type frag round, anti-personnel round, but maybe it's another one, or based on another one. But the fact that it's even in the game, like how many mainstream shooters let you use different warheads on your RPG-7? Virtually none of them. I suppose a Magnum revolver is inevitable, and you may as well go full Magnum. I guess it should be pronounced Arsha 12, RSH, as in Papa Shah. I'd better check that for the future. But 12.7, 50 caliber revolver, firing the same ammunition as that insane ASH or Asher 12 rifle thing that we know from the current generation of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is a real Russian design, as is this. And as we saw from the external view, firing, the barrel is at the bottom, a bit like a Mateba or something, in order presumably to help tame the significant recoil of this really powerful revolver. I can't quite tell what's operating on this, hammer, cylinder, but that obviously the cylinder swings out and is reloaded with a speed loader. It is kicking out cases somehow, which is not possible. So maybe that's an engine limitation in some way, that the way it's set up, guns have to eject cartridge cases. Obviously, the number of revolvers that eject cartridge cases, well, very few, for obvious reasons. It's not usually worth doing, mechanically difficult to pull off. So that's essentially a glitch, but it's probably a baked-in glitch for now until they can code that out.
Oh, the beauty. MP5.
This one's gonna be interesting.
Can't go wrong with it. Roughly, I guess it's an A3 or close enough in the game anyway. Now, if I'd got this MP5 in Half-Life 1, I'd have been very happy. Because it's really very detailed for, by the standards of that game, certainly. But yeah, really good, really well modeled. You can't have an MP5 without the HK slap, not in my book. And there's a very blocky rendition of it here. I'm going to say it's like the Neo style closed fist slap, but it seemed quite gentle. I think maybe it could be a little bit more assertive. In reality, you can of course do it that way. Just slip it out of the notch with your thumb and let it travel forward, and it's going to travel the same distance as if you hit the thing. But the HK manual, as I'm fond of pointing out, does say to slap it. I suppose if I have any criticism of the MP5 in the game, it would be, I have seen the traditional polymer forend with, I think, a rail on the bottom, and I might have seen the odd section sort of jury-rigged to one side or the other for attaching a light or something. I don't remember seeing a tri-rail version of this where you have a rail on the bottom and a rail either side, as we see in the game. I'm sure someone's done it, but in any case, it's not my preference. But I get that we need to be able to accessorize. I suppose if you're going to do that, though, just go with a railed handguard. Like the MP5 as it comes from HK now has a railed handguard fitted and a rail claw mount adapter on the top as well. So I'm purist about these things, but that's because I don't have to use them practically. So that's probably the way I would go, rather than try to keep the classic silhouette but still have representations of rails on there.
Oh, the AK. Doesn't drop 2 mags.
Right, some variety in the reloads here, which is interesting. Obviously it applies across the game, but currently looking at the AK-74. Retaining magazines, clearly important if with realistic ammunition management, but there seems to be a separate button for an emergency reload where you dump the magazine and just put on a fresh one. I presume you can't pick it back up either, so sacrificing however many rounds you had left for the sake of a faster reload. That kind of gun-based gameplay I think is fascinating and based in reality. Operating the charging handle at one point underhand or close to, don't really have hands in this game, and then Another reload I saw there was done with taking the right hand off the pistol grip, which was the traditional way to do it, even in the era of the AK-74, by the way. The Soviet manual for the AK-74 still has you doing everything with the right hand. Recognizably an AK-74 in terms of the curvature of the magazine, the muzzle brake on the end of the barrel, and even a couple of minor details of the shape of the thing. I guess a slight downside of the way these models are done is that the top cover doesn't appear to be a separate piece, which it probably could be at the level of detail that the game operates at. But we do have the push button for the top cover removal, the little tang for the attachment of the buttstock. Now, I will say, I've been fortunate enough to shoot an AK-74 once or twice. The recoil is minimal. That muzzle brake is incredibly effective. The cartridge is low recoil inherently as well. And so I think this has too much recoil, in particular in automatic fire, bursts of fire.
People will be very happy about the statement.
Effect starts to bring up the muzzle. That just doesn't happen with a 74, as long as you're pulling it in with any degree of skill, as I have proven. It just stays on. If you have to fire automatic fire from the shoulder with a rifle, which is very much not the fashion these days, then an AK-74 is right up there for one of the best options.
No, stop.
Right, a couple of things. Clearly, these weapons are even more customizable than I thought they were, because we've got what appears to be a middle finger front sight and just fingers
They put
and hands.
that in.
I haven't even seen someone do that on a real firearm. That's special. I hope that the game overall maintains the sort of serious tone with the sort of cutesy graphics, because that works well. Too much of this kind of thing might take me out of it, but that was fun. Now, also, as I'm trying very hard to focus on an on-screen indicator that says combining magazines that I don't think I've seen before. So we've got realistic ammunition management. We might have 1 round in one magazine, 5 in another. You can combine. Pretty desperate if you did this, but you can combine the 1 round magazine into the 5 round magazine and get 1 magazine of 6 rounds, which is going to give you ever so slight edge in an encounter. Can you do it this quickly? Obviously not. You'd have to take cover, be pretty assured you're not going to get overrun and shot, and then look at removing rounds from magazines, stowing them or throwing them away, and inserting them into your other magazines. It would be a much longer, more involved process, but very interesting that it's in the game. I'm kind of astonished that a mechanic I've never seen before is debuting, for me anyway, in this particular game. Again, not to disparage the game.
Oh, M200. Oh, damn. One of my first weapons I ever made. And it only has like some slight
Sniper rifle,
It's never gonna
M200. I'm sure you'll recognize, if not the name, then the design of the rifle. It's the Shitak M200 or M200 Intervention, one that we don't have in the collection, regrettably, but very distinctive and popped up quite a few times in various popular culture settings. What's interesting about it for me, though, is the rangefinder that's been implemented. So there's a physical rangefinder device on the side of the gun with a readout. And what I think you must have to do is sort of scope what you want to do. Then you have to unaim down sights, as it were, look at the readout of where your reticle currently is to get the range, then go back into the scope and then hold over by, well, I guess you would learn by trial and error what the holdover would be. I very much doubt you can do it from any kind of data, but I love the idea that there might be someone somewhere with actual data cards or sheets for their Minecraft sniper rifle.
That was quite a fast shot.
Right, I was just thinking that given the lower powered graphics engine here, that we could push out our sniping in this game to realistic distances, because there's far too much bullet drop in Battlefield. And that's to do with the size of the levels as well as graphics and all of that. And I've seen a load of kills done in this footage, 200 meters for 300 meters, maybe 400. And I just now saw an 842 meter long distance kill come up, which is astonishing. I've never seen in any game I've played kills out to that long range. Now that's still nowhere near what a rifle like this is capable of in the right hands on the right day, but it's way more than I've seen a video game do. So that's really impressive stuff.
I don't really want to pause it, but like, we can go up to 2,800.
just as a measure of how impressed I am with this game, I accidentally skipped past the preview of the weapon, and what I got of the next gun was the iron sight view that I instantly recognized as the FN FAL just from that view with these graphics. And I think that shows you how effective and how well done they are. And it's a really nicely done FAL. Somewhat modernized, it's got rails on it. I guess if you're going to use an FAL in modern combat, you would want that. The top cover is, in this version of the gun anyway, it appears to be a separate piece in a different color. I'd like to see that on the AK maybe. There's more differentiation here in terms of color and component parts. Maybe this one's been modeled more recently. I don't know. Selective fire, I haven't mentioned, but all the guns that should have it seem to have it. Flick from semi-automatic, which is what the FAL is best at. Click, and you're on automatic, which seems to work okay. And I think that difficulty in controlling automatic fire is translated over to this game as well, because we're definitely getting more muzzle rise with firing on automatic. We've got the correct rock-in magazine reload, even though it's glossing over some of the stages because it has to. Could easily just be magazine magically attaches to gun out of thin air, but no, we actually see it get rocked in. So there are hints of everything that you would expect to see. M249, the squad automatic weapon, the FN Minimi. I could actually identify this as a 249 if I didn't know that's what it was supposed to be, because it has the heat shield handguard on top of it. Bit of an odd quirk is that the bipod looks kind of tiny and is mounted too far back under the handguard, which is really a bit weird, but easily fixed, I'm sure. And then as I'm watching the thing fire, really nice job with the belt of ammunition in the first place, but when it runs out, we still have empty links on the left side of the gun coming out of the belt box. If all that ammunition's gone through the gun, all the links should be separated and on the floor by now. There should be no belt on the left side at all. But instead, it's somehow, like, I guess the belt model is persistent. The rounds have all been fired, so that there's a kind of a glitch there, or an oversight maybe. I just want to say, with the ejected cases in this game, something I've been pointing out a fair bit recently, it feels like, is that we don't have that perpendicular perfect procession didn't mean to alliterate like that, of cases coming out of the gun, which is in so many games. Here they are barely visible, flying speed out of the gun at extreme angles, because that's how guns work. They, the physics of the whole thing spins them out of the gun and they go at some speed. So this, yet again, this game with its very simple graphics is doing a better job than a lot of mainstream AAA games have done historically with that particular aspect. Thanks for joining us, guys, for
That's such
Guns
a massive compliment.
BattleBit.
That is
which
such
a new
a
game to
massive
me. Absolutely
compliment.
fascinating. Cool to see what they've done with
Wow.
very limited resources, essentially.
That's a
If you'd
massive
like to see-
W.
That's a huge W in the chat, I guess.
Yeah, huge W.
That's
That's
crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Well,
I
can't get any better feedback than this.
Well, I knew it was coming because they sent out an email to me because they wanted to have like unlock all accounts so you can like actually see all weapons in the game. And well, unlock all technically doesn't really work, so we just copied the stats of Lonely on their accounts. And I knew it was coming, but I was like, okay, it's a Roblox like game. It won't be that good. He will probably like complain about like, what the fuck? I'm speechless.
God. Perfectionism.
It's pretty awesome, though. Pretty awesome. I like that.
That's crazy.
The fact that he recognized the weapon just by the iron sight precision is just insane.
It's,
You guys just see the iron sights like, oh yeah, that's the fall.
What amazed me personally even more is the fact that they actually took the time to include the fuck you sight.
that's if the
Like-
side, then the fuck you side.
I mean, that's the only funny side in the game, so I guess we would tolerate it.
Like, I've been watching the videos and I know that there's like things he complained about and like things I take into account and I look into just to have them as close as possible because I know a lot of games like just do it wrong. There's some recent examples, but it's unreleased content, so I'm not going to talk about it. This was crazy. This is like really crazy. It's a fucking Roblox game. I will definitely revisit that video. I will rewatch it later on and actually take the notes of what he complained about so we can actually fix it. But that was crazy. That was really cool. I saw such a massive smirk on my face. I have no idea what to say anymore. It's like
Intern gaming. Yeah, buff the AK. You
Yeah,
need to buff the
buff
AK.
the
now,
AK.
you said it. You need to buff the AK and reduce its recoil. The
oh,
muzzle is very effective. You heard it. The pros hate it.
I'm just glad he didn't show off the Chris Vector because technically, by the way that weapon is built, it has absolutely zero recoil, and we just had to put recoil in the game, otherwise it would be just too OP. So I'm glad he didn't do that.
Yeah, because the way it works is that there is a hammer in the hand and it controls it and makes the weapon literally have no recoil. Or, yeah. Make it a dev version where there's just a weapon with no recoil. It's just a laser gun.
No. Gun doesn't have recoil IL. I don't believe it until I've seen it. That was like so cool. That's really, really cool. Firearms expert react. BattleBit. God damn it. Another thing I can like put on my things I want to experience in life. Like, hey, someone actually that knows what I'm doing or like knows how things should be done. Compliments on the things I do. Me is a fucking like no idea what I'm doing half the day.
So you know you have if the game doesn't work at the end, you have your place in the ammunition industry. You can design weapons.
No, I don't. Designing
Lol.
weapons, like designing actual weapons and doing what I do, there's a huge gap between that.
But I didn't watch the entire series. Is this just like really strict with what the reviews like?
He's not like extremely strict, but he, in any case, like always points out the issues.
Yeah.
He's a firearms expert. He works for the British Museum in the end. It's his job, kind of. Well, with that, what he does with them, it's like kind of a thing. But I think if the game would look like really realistic, he would have had way more things to say. I don't think we would have come away with such a good review then, if the game would look like completely realistic. But I'm just happy.
Yeah,
that
that's
it's,
the
like,
take.
I'm just happy. so fucking insane. Let me just. I don't know. Has anyone seen Oki type somewhere yet? I don't want to wake him up.
So you can see the video?
Yeah, so he can watch it.
I don't think he has type today.
All right, then.
He's
I'll
not
just-
even connected. No, not in general. Not in here.
All right. No voice. I will definitely share it with him later. It's like so fucking cool. Well, I knew they were going to do it, but like this soon too. Firearms expert react. BattleBit. Yeah, so we need to fix 2 guns. Yeah, so there's like things I can put on my table again regarding work. We are not done
And you
yet.
don't have to rework. You don't have to rework Weapons again. Let's go.
No, I will.
No, you do, actually.
Anyway, I will rework because it just does not. No, it's not the standard I want to keep. It's by far not the standard anymore. Doesn't match. Is it my standard? How do you say it in English properly? Doesn't match my standard anymore. I don't know.